Hello everyone, my name is Olivia Rehan Narmawan. Now I'd like to give you my answers, to share my answers of the assignment 3 of Information System Audit. So moving on to the first question. So the first question is about operating system exposures and controls. So in this question there are 5 scenarios, and for each scenarios I have to discuss the potential consequences and have prevention technique. Could be A, could be more. So the scenario A. So the system operator opened a bag of burned microwave popcorn directly under smoke detector in the computing room where 2 mainframes, 3 high-speed printers, and approximately 40 tapes are housed. The extremely sensitive smoke detector triggered the sprinkle system. 3 minutes passed before the sprinkles could be turned on. So the potential consequences here are there are many hardware in the room where could be damaged or could be broken due to the contact with sprinkles of water that electronic devices aren't very friendly of. And therefore, if the hardware could be broken, if the hardware are broken, the software and data stored in those hardwares could be damaged as well, or could be the worst case is to get lost. And finally, since the hardware and the software are broken, the company would have to pay or to pay the amount of money that got damaged, or to buy new hardwares, to buy a new operating system, or maybe to try to restore data if that could happen. So therefore, the prevention techniques, so if those so that those things would happen again, would happen, are to put more restriction on what is allowed and not allowed in the computing room. For example, to not allow to be not allowed to eat or drink or bring any kinds of food and beverages to that room, and to do regular backup to prevent data loss due to the hardware being damaged, and maybe uh, store the backups elsewhere other than the computing room, so that if the computing room got damaged again somehow, the backup is still hopefully still around. And lastly, the smoke detector could be programmed to maybe have a warning first before the sprinkler goes off, to prevent any false alarm. So the scenario B is about system programmer intentionally placed an error into a program that causes this operating system to fail and dumps certain confidential information to disks and printers. So it's pretty straightforward. The potential consequences: the OS could be damaged, and of course, if the OS could be damaged, the data stored in the OS could be damaged as well, which also may cause loss of important information. So, what are the prevention technique? The prevention technique should conduct regular system audit trails, maybe with enable to know illegal access, enable illegal access to that to the system, or maybe to do password or security um, to make stronger, or maybe to have a password policy where they would change the password um, periodically, and finally strict consequences for whom that um, committed to these kinds of uh, being, so that in the future less people would try to do the same thing. Maybe. Scenario C is about Jane's employer told her she would be laid off in 3 weeks. After 3 weeks, Jane realized that finding another secretarial job was going to be very tough. She became bitter. Her son told her about the virus that had infected his school's computers, and that one of his disks had been infected. Jane took the infected disk to work and copied it onto the network server, which is connected to the company's mainframe. 1 month later, the company realized that some data and application programs had been destroyed. It's a pretty long scenario, but first, the potential consequence is the security of data in the system may be in question. to the uh, virus being able to penetrate it to the system, and then the virus could spread throughout the system, which could damage the system and then stored further. So the prevention techniques are pretty straightforward. Maybe to put on stronger firewall application, a stronger antivirus, or a more sophisticated antivirus, and lastly stricter system monitoring to detect virus attacks in the future. Scenario D is pretty similar. It's about discovering Robert discovered a new sensitivity analysis public domain program on the internet. He downloaded the software to his microcomputer at home, then took the application to work and placed it into his network personal computer. The program had a virus on it that eventually spread the company's mainframe. So, starting with the potential consequences, first, data that are stored throughout the system could be lost. The spread of virus could attract unauthorized access through the virus, maybe hackers, and important sensitive data could be exposed to hackers through the virus. And the prevention technique are similar to the previous one: stronger firewall and stronger antivirus, or maybe more sophisticated antivirus. Lastly, is the scenario E. Murray, a trusted company, trusted. So lastly, the scenario E. Murray, a trusted employee and a systems engineer, had access to both the computer access control list and user passwords. The firm competitor recently hired him for twice his salary. After leaving, Murray continued to browse through his old employer's data, such as price lists, customer lists, bids on jobs, and so on. He passed this information on to his new employer. So the potential consequences for this one would be first, illegal spygate, which might cause legal action for both Murray and his employer, could be taken from the Murray's old employer side, and then data could be leaked. Maybe could be leaked uh, to the Murray's current employer, or even worse, to the public. And lastly, the lack of security of for former employers, or in this case, is an unauthorized person, might cause similar action in the future if they don't stop doing it. So then the prevention technique is first to delete or remove access to former employees that doesn't work there anymore, so the access will be cut. And then second, the data download restriction. Not everyone could download data. Obviously, if you don't have any access, you can't download it anymore, and not everyone that have the access could download the data from the system. And lastly, conduct regular system audit trails for ensuring the data and the system integrity. Question 2 is about encryption. So here, the task is to decode this phrase right here with using the Caesar cheaper method. So the solution, I tried brute force attack for the Caesar cheaper method that's available on the internet. There's some calculator, and it is found that the text could be decoded with the shift or key 23, which mean that the A on the normal alphabet would be X. So to make that clearer, here's the alphabet. On the right side, you can see that A is X, and so on and so on. So in this, if that is applied to the text right here with starting OHWV, it would be decoded into let's do Julius on Monday, March 48, dress, toga, casual, BYOD. However, in this case, I'm not able to decode the number, the 48. So still, the March 48 still doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe you guys can help me on that. So that's my answer for this question. So actually, that's the last question. So thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry if my presentation wasn't very good. And thank you so much.